When I went to see the managing director of the time, Michael Lucas, tell him I was going to go off and try and climb Everest, he asked me how long I would need, and I said about 10 weeks. And I often joke, the hardest thing about climbing Everest is getting 10 weeks off it, not the money or the physical challenge. And they gave me 5 weeks off, which I was entitled to as holiday, and then I'd worked for an extra 2 or 3 weeks. And then when I came back, having successfully climbed Everest, they wrote the others off. But as Michael said, the one good thing about when you were on Everest was at least, Eric, we knew where you were. Because prior to that, I'd had a bit of a history of just going off and doing reports and maybe not telling everyone where I was or when I was going to come back. So Channel were great on that. They've been great on the other climbs. They've been supportive in my swims. Yeah. And most of them have made programmes or features. So it's not all been one-way traffic. We'd managed to half sort of blag a series of holiday features, and Kevin Banner, cameraman, now head of operations, we went to Iceland together, but everything was so expensive. We had to try and do everything we could to save money, so we tried to walk to places, and we went and did a cookery feature. And the man said, "Do you want a starter or a main course?" And we said, both. And the reason we asked for both was because we ate it after, because it was about the only food we'd had. To mark the 60th anniversary of D-Day, about 20 Jersey veterans went back, so we followed them, and they attended a number of functions, but the biggest one was right on one of the main beachheads, and 2 Channel Islanders had been chosen to go and carry flags. Now, we didn't know that they were going to be chosen, so we didn't have the permits necessary, and we explained to one of the French policemen, French soldier, military policeman, our predicament. And he was quite clearly bored. He didn't want to handle the press. So he saw this as a challenge. And this man, just every checkpoint we went through, he managed to get us through. And not only did he get us through all the checkpoints and into the village, he got us right into the centre of town. And we were with the best of the press. I think they'd only assigned something like 6 press passes. And we were there, the Queen was going to come down. And it was about 4 minutes to go, when suddenly they realised that we weren't Channel 4, we were just Channel Television. And then all hell broke loose as they tried to evict us. And we were saved by the Queen coming down the road. It meant that to cross the road, we've had to go in front of the Queen, the American presidents and all the other dignitaries, and they just left us there, and we got some excellent footage. Perhaps another light-hearted moment, although perhaps it shouldn't have been because it was to do with the Newell's murder, was when Roderick Newell was brought back to the island. He was accompanied by some officers to Grave de Lec, where he said he would show them where he'd buried his parents. The world's media was there, and I felt that it was going to be a long filming shoot, so we put one crew there to do a couple of hours, and then I thought when it gets dark we'll let them have some supper and we'll swap around. So we went into the stable bar, which isn't there anymore, but it's across from the actual scene where the bodies were buried. And we walked into the pub, and in all innocence, I said to the cameraman and the sound man, "What would you like to drink?" And they both asked for Boddingtons, and I wanted a Theakston's. And I said to the barman, without realising, when he said to me, "What do you want?" I said, 2 bodies and a Theakston's. And everyone around me was smiling. I hadn't quite realised that I'd said something that was funny. A Russian slave worker had returned to Alderney, and we followed him around as the first time in 50 years that he saw these places. He was able to tell us things that he was able then to show us, and he hadn't gone to these places. So we were in a car, for instance, and he was saying this was where this accident happened, or this was where someone left some food for the workers. And then we walked down the street, and yes, he was able to show us the window ledge. I've often enjoyed interviewing people from the occupation. I think the stories that people have to tell about how they endured things are amazing. two boxing incidents. The first was with Frank Bruno. I thought I was just going to go and interview him, and he decided that I should put some gloves on. And it looked rather bizarre because I was actually in a suit. I managed to take the tie off of my jacket, and he got some pads, and I was punching away, and he kept teasing me about being a young girly or something. And I was trying to put my full strength in it. I've never boxed in my life. And then the other one was with Ricky Hatton. Ricky Hatton came over to do something at South Hill Gym. This time I went a bit more dressed for the occasion, but I didn't get asked to box. But what amazed me there was just how much time he gave to the young boxers and just how helpful he really was for us. There was nothing he wouldn't do. And he showed his belt, and that was a really memorable live interview.